right. So I appreciate you coming to talk.
Thanks for letting me.
Yeah. Do you want to start by introducing yourself?
Sure. My name's Dylan.
Dylan. All right. You seem like a
What's your name?
positive guy. My name is Brandon.
Brandon. Good to finally meet you.
Yes.
Seeing you
Yes.
around.
Yeah.
I drive the little circuits.
Yeah, I've seen you. I've seen you. That's cool. How was that? Is that
Awesome.
fun?
That's fun.
Okay. It looks fun.
Take a ride sometime. I'll get you and your stuff anywhere.
Thank you. All right. So I guess to start, right? Well, first I want to ask: are you vegan?
I'm not vegan.
Not vegan.
If you can't tell.
Okay.
They're
bigger vegans.
No, I know, but no, yes.
Okay.
If one were to assume whether I was vegan or not, I generally will assume I'm not, and that's correct.
Okay. All right. So
that's not to say I don't enjoy vegan food.
Okay.
I love vegan food. It is very good and delicious.
So you've indulged in some vegan food?
Absolutely. It can be awesome. I totally am on board with that.
Okay.
I've had vegan family members. Sisters tried it a little bit, and yeah, I mean I have nothing against it, of course.
So I guess to answer your question you asked off camera, there kind of is like a general recipe I go about with these videos, right?
Yeah.
So the first step is
Yeah,
I'm going
I
to
figured
define veganism, and then I just want to hear what you disagree with, right? Because assuming, the reason why I do that is assuming that if you're not vegan, then you must have some opposition or some thing that you disagree with the definition of veganism, right?
Okay.
So veganism is an ideology that rejects the commodification of animals, right?
That is totally valid.
Okay, so that means you don't want to use them, abuse them, or kill them for food, clothing, entertainment, or anything else.
On a moral standpoint.
Yes.
From a moral standpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Perhaps not a practical one is my, I think, argument.
Okay. So what you're saying is, yes, that's the correct moral position, but practical things get in the way.
Yeah, and I think maybe unintentionally, it's just how society has evolved. It's just how it has happened. I don't think there's any malicious intent necessarily on the part of human beings.
Okay.
It just has reached this point, and we wouldn't have the population we have on a global scale without it.
Sure.
And I'm not saying what it has evolved into is atrocious. It's hell on earth for those animals. And I can't imagine being one of the workers that do it. I think on some level you have to be disassociate.
Well, the depression and the mental health
in the industry
issues of slaughterhouse workers are awful.
Atrocious.
Yeah, it's horrific.
They must be atrocious, and that it doesn't surprise me in the least.
Okay.
And it disgusts me even more that there are probably some people out there that seek that out for that reason, which is awful.
Could be.
But that's just there's a wide range of humans that exist. Anyways.
Okay. So you can recognize that what happens to animals in the modern day is a moral atrocity. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that when you take into account what science has discovered in even just the last 100 years about consciousness and sentience and how the brain functions, and just the fact that we can now look at some of these animals, compare them to stages of human life, and we know they feel pain, we know they feel some range of emotions that, obviously not on the range that we do, or even other animals like maybe dogs or dolphins, but these ones that we eat and consume, especially pigs, right? And it's a really sad thing. I don't disagree with that.
Okay. So
and sorry,
please.
I'm just like on a diatribe. It's just I think for me personally, and I'm sure there are other people out there that would say that it's just the duality of being human, in that I know and recognize that those moral issues are there, but it also just tastes so good and does sustain me and give me energy that it's just it's not enough to stop me from doing it.
Okay. So a lot of things to unpack there, right?
A lot of thoughts to unpack.
No, I appreciate it. No, you're good. So, right?
Do we even have it all?
I got it.
Okay.
So we'll go through them one by one. But just so I get consensus, because this is important, because I want to get an idea of what your basic moral framework is, right?
I don't even know if I fully know that, Brandon.
Okay, well, I'll ask you a couple questions, right? So, and these could be yes or no. You could elaborate more, but I would like a yes or no, then you can elaborate. So, would you say that factory farming is immoral? Yes or no? Forget about practical. I'm just talking about from the position of these animals are sentient, like you said. They feel pain, they feel joy. and we slaughter and torture them by the billions every year. Would you say factory farming is moral?
Yes. Oh, you say moral?
Moral.
No.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
Immoral.
So factory farming is immoral. Okay, great. So we're there. You agree that cows, chickens, pigs, dogs, cats, chimpanzees, humans, we're all sentient, correct?
Yes.
There is a hierarchy of sentience.
Yes, to a degree. Yes.
Okay,
So
there is a hierarchy.
spectrum,
But
yes,
you, okay,
yes.
great. All right. So, because most people, a lot of people come with the plants are sentient. So I'm glad we're not there. Okay.
Well, I don't think plants are sentient in a way that we understand. I think there's
right, we can get there.
yeah, that
We
goes
can
into a whole metaphysical
All right,
different shit, but we won't go there.
Well, I know we got to get there, but we'll get there later.
Okay.
So
Get his ass.
when it comes to
This is a hot tea.
okay, so if we agree that factory farming's immoral,
Okay.
and animals are sentient, right, and that's kind of what makes it immoral, right? So you said a couple things. So I guess to dissect it even further. So practically, that seems to be the hang-up. So practically, I'll address one thing you said just because it's in the forefront. But then I want to know more as to what your practical hang-ups are. But
Okay.
you did mention right at the beginning that we would not be here without animal products. And that is correct, right? Animal products, especially when we were evolving and developing, source of calories and nutrients, that was important, right? Animal products did have a role in that. Plants also had a big role in that, which a lot of people don't talk about, but animal products as well. So,
Yeah, and not even just for eating and consuming and getting energy, both animal products and plant products for
yeah, clothing,
everything.
shelter,
Yeah,
everything,
yeah.
right. So I guess the first thing I would ask you with that statement, do you think that just because we had to do something in our history justifies us doing that same action today?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No,
all right.
I'm a firm believer in he who does not know history is doomed to repeat it, and
Okay,
it happens
all right.
over and over.
So just because...
If you're not consciously trying to change and progress and be better.
Gotcha. Okay. So just because we did eat meat and that got us here,
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's moral to continue doing so on its own. So-
Correct. If we could come up with a different system like, I don't know, lab-grown meat without any side effects, why? Yeah.
Well,
I mean, that's
here's-
going into a whole nother side.
That is.
sci-fi
But here's the thing:
section,
separate
but-
from lab-grown meat, right? There seems to be this push or this desire for to prevent us going without animal products altogether, right? We want
Yeah.
lab-grown meat. We want this. So
Right.
what I would
Where
say
it's
is,
like, yeah, why can't we just get the same nutrients that we get in a different form?
Right.
That is plant-based.
and what I would say is besides that. So if we agree that history does not equal morality, right, or nature does not equal morality, so what would your other practical hang-ups be?
I guess there's no practical hang-ups. They probably are maybe a little, what's the word? Shit. I hate it when you forget what you're trying to say. Well, I guess my hang-up would be that I have been, for lack of a better term, brainwashed
Sure.
from being a baby
Yeah.
to eating, to this is what you eat and this is what it is, and it's so readily available everywhere that it's just hard,
That's true.
nearly impossible in our society to avoid it, to avoid the animal products in our food. So it's
No, and that's a practical hang-up. The
yeah,
practicality of
I guess so. It's
like,
just, it's so ubiquitous, and you just can't escape. And I've been, yeah. So to make the conscious effort to really is actually very, 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 very hard to do in our society. And I think, I think if veganism was just the norm and was everything that, on a scale that provided for people, of this, magnitude, demographic of the planet,
yeah.
then I think people would eat it.
There
and
would be
fine.
no
there would be no questions.
Yeah, there would be no convenience factor. There would be no anything because the education,
And
all
infrastructure
the
was
food
built
would be
up around
vegan.
it, and everything was there. Yeah.
So here's my question, right? How do you think, from a practical standpoint, we get to that point?
People like you doing this,
And
education, and startups trying to do that. Create
And what else?
delicious vegan things. Set the animals free.
No,
Let them
no,
all loose
no,
to roam
no.
the world.
and you're forgetting the most important person. It's you, man. So how
Starts
we
with
get
one
there
person.
is
Yeah,
we
yeah.
gotta make the change. And the thing is, right? When you say I ate animal products for 18 years of my life, right? it took me about a solid year of like doing research, getting over my selfishness of like just wanting to eat these animal products, figuring out the nutrition of what I was going to swap things with. And then after that year, I ate animal products the day before, and then the next day I just went all vegan that day, and I never stopped, right? So it's not that I am out here expecting people who grew up a certain way, right? It's kind of like talking to anyone who's also brainwashed, like trying to convince somebody who grew up in, early 1900s America that racism is wrong, right? Yeah. You're gonna have a very difficult time convincing them that there is no difference between different races of people, right? Even though we have the science, we have the information, we have the clear logical arguments, but because they're indoctrinated, that's a huge practical position. Now, that may be true, but what I'm more interested in, right, is if your kind of argument is, well, it's more, it's inconvenient, it is harder, right? I would want to test that, right? So, because if we already agree that this is a moral atrocity, right? So, if we looked at any other injustice or any other moral atrocity, right?
That's going on right now.
Well, something that you actually contribute to, right? Not saying you, I'm saying like hypothetically, right? So let's say you walked into a grocery store, right? And all they had in the meat aisle was dog meat, right? So they had nothing but dog meat, and then the rest of the grocery store were plant-based options, right? Which one would you be able to choose pretty quickly, usually?
I'd probably get mostly vegetables, and then I would get like a little time.
No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
No, I would, because I would want to. I'd be like, okay, kind of. It's there.
Okay.
So the poor thing was already, but I kind of want to taste it. I can't explain why or.
Okay.
But
so
yeah, I would get a vast majority of other things, make a big dish, and then have a little bit of that on the side, just because it would pique my curiosity.
So in that context, no, it's cool. I just a test, right? Where we'll start there, we'll go on. So in that,
I wouldn't be like this.
I hear
totally disgusted.
So in that context, right, you would be okay with, voting with your dollars, essentially contributing to the factory farming of dogs, right? That would be an okay thing.
Well, see,
when you word it like that.
When you word it like that, of course, yeah. You go, people go into the store and all they see is a hunk of pink, squishy stuff in a package, and you do dissociate so much from what that actually is. So yeah, when you think about it in those terms and that moral dilemma, no, I probably wouldn't fucking get the dog.
Right, yeah. Right. You probably get rice and beans,
and
guac,
you're right,
whatever.
and you're right. Especially in our culture. Yeah. If I walked into a store that was like that. Yeah, I probably wouldn't.
Like, dude, that's messed up. You'd move away from it,
right?
Because
then I would realize if I see just a whole shell, I would be like, holy shit, a bunch of dogs were killed. Yeah. And I would probably be like, oh man, I kind of want to, but I'm not gonna do that. You're right. Yeah,
so that's the thing is like when we have that, right?
Because why would we do that when it's a bunch of dogs? But why don't? But we do that when there's pigs and cows and chickens.
When there's cows, chickens, and pigs, right? Because it's social. Because like you said, we've indoctrinated. The second that we think about, or somebody mentions giving it up, we go, well, it'd be too hard, well, it'd be inconvenient, it's already there. But if you replace those animals with any other socially unacceptable animal to do that to, our brains quickly go, oh, fuck that, I would just eat the rice and beans. Oh, screw that, I would just get the vegan food, right? And I was gonna scale it up further. Like, again, you could look at anything. Like, let's say you walk in a grocery store and half of the items, like every time you purchase an item, a slave gets like whipped, right? Or like a child gets molested, or like a woman.
Right. And you would then absolutely.
Right. You would look at it and go, I'm gonna go get this. I don't want to support that. Yeah. So like once you take the position that you had to begin with and you kind of scale it up just a little bit, just to a different species of animal, you already recognize that like, wait a second, that's kind of inconsistent. Then we scale it up to what the position can entail of, well, this product I enjoy more, is more convenient. So it's okay that the slave gets whipped, or it's okay that the child gets molested. I'll just take the product, right? Same thing, like, yes, this product might be what you know is like nutrition or what you're used to, but is it okay that a sentient animal had to be tortured and killed for that product?
And like you're saying, that can be said for literally any product that's on our shelves, because there are slaves tortured and there are children, mining the fucking cobalt for our cell phones, So
That is true.
This is all happening, and so I mean, yeah, you can scale this way beyond veganism,
But
and then that just goes into human
yeah,
nature
well,
and how
that's
fucked
true.
our whole.
But what I
whole
will
stuff
say,
is.
that is true. That is what I will say.
And how do you
because-
fix all those problems in the world?
Yeah.
One person at a time. You're right, but
Well. So I don't expect you, right? Because there's kind of a difference between a supply and demand situation and an industry malpractices, and I can kind of clarify that, right? So in order for let's say I don't know what's a good example. Let's say quinoa. I heard something with quinoa, right? Let's say the quinoa to be grown and processed, right? Migrant workers get underpaid. They are working out in the hot sun, and they're like the labor laws are iffy, right? Let's just say, right? In order to when you purchase that quinoa, right? There's nothing inherently violent or unjust about the quinoa itself. There is an industry malpractice, and obviously, we should be trying to do our due diligence to avoid companies that do participate in that malpractice, right? If we are aware of it. But then the cross-chain is a lot more impractical and actually chase down because there's a lot of shadiness, right? But again, inherently, the quinoa isn't violent, right? It's the industry that causes it. In the case of animal products, in order to get that steak, that entails violence. No matter if there's industry malpractices, if it's Sunny Oaks Farm, the animal had to be killed, had to have its life ended short, just for you to have that steak.
Right.
So when we look at what can we do, right? What's important morally? I would say the number one is opposing and not contributing with our money products, industries, areas of whatever you want to look at that directly necessitate violence and death, I would say, right? So again, in the case of slaves, in the case of businesses that don't employ women, or maybe businesses that allow for child molestation or whatever it is, right? All those things, right? Versus, yes, obviously there are malpractices, but we can't avoid that. We would have to essentially address issues within our economic system or the laws that we have, which on a personal level, we could go to Congress, we could advocate, but we can't actually do. But what we can do, we could vote with our money, right? And the less demand that animal products get, those companies will start producing less, and they'll start shifting over to vegan.
Yeah, switching over. That is a totally valid argument, and I don't disagree.
Okay. So I guess from here, right? I'm glad we're here. I guess from here, the one question I would ask you is, because I do want to help. I want to help, and I understand that realistically you might not go vegan after this conversation. But
I will not be going vegan.
Well, here's my question.
Sorry.
No. Don't be sorry to me, man. Be sorry to 80 billion animals.
If it makes you feel a little bit better, I have gotten much better at it.
But my question would be, what would stop? If you agree, if what I'm saying makes sense, right? If you're putting the pieces together, which is great, that's half the battle. What would be stopping you from going vegan?
Well, it's a little more expensive, isn't it?
Oxford study just came out, 30% cheaper on average. Whole food, plant-based. Yeah. Obviously, if you do
it depends on your quantity of diet now too. Now I would need a lot of fucking plants to sustain.
Actually, so a lot of calorically dense plants. So for example, you have nut butters,
dense, yeah.
you have peanut butters, you have oats, you have whole grains, you have potatoes, you've got beans, you've got rice, you've got, you've got like, dude,
you got all kinds
you
of
could,
calorie dense. Okay.
Dude, I would just be honest. So when I first went vegan, right, I was eating nothing but like vegetables, and I lost a lot of weight, right?
Yeah,
I'm like pretty skinny now, but I went down like 20 pounds, right? And then when I was living with my fiance for about a year and a half, right? You know, you get into a relationship, you move in together, right? You don't really give a shit about anything else. I literally gained like 40 pounds because there's so much vegan junk food. Like you don't think there is because you just go after the non-vegan stuff, but Oreos are vegan. Nutter Butters are vegan. You got fucking so much candy. You've got so much. Burger King's got vegan nuggets, vegan Whoppers. Like you got so many.
Oh no, I've had
so much vegan junk.
It's fucking delicious.
It's fucking great.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like, I understand. Like, look, if you're saying I've got an appetite, man, I've got to eat a lot of food. Right? I get that. Like,
That's true.
I get it. But does that justify what we do to animals? Could you realistically satiate your cravings and get what you get out of animal products, just with a slightly different alternative, or trying new foods out within.
Yes, I'm sure I could.
Plant-based.
If I made the conscious effort to really try, yes, I'm sure I could. But another problem is being human. I have so much more going on in my life that it's hard to really take the time. I know that, and this is what is this?
Here's
now?
a card. I got a website. There are
come on,
resources. There's other
Well, but
YouTube
still,
channels.
Yeah, that still takes a lot. Yeah, I guess.
What do you you don't watch TV?
You
don't read?
Well, I do. Yeah. Okay.
Come
yeah,
on, man. Like, come on. Like,
yeah.
here's the thing. We can make excuses all we want, but I would say, right? I would say that if you genuinely do agree with what I'm saying, if you understand where I'm coming at, right?
Yes.
I would say that we all have a moral obligation to stop contributing to the moral atrocity that's happening to animals, and we can do it. I've been vegan for almost 7 years. Once you go vegan, once you obviously you do so, and you're not gonna be perfect, right? Start with one meal. Switch one meal. See how that goes. Switch another meal.
If it does make you feel better, I have been working on myself quite a bit. Brandon, right?
Yeah, Brandon, yeah.
Yeah, and so I have significally cut down on the amount of meat that I do eat.
That's awesome.
And I am eating more vegetables. And
just for your health, that's good.
Just for my health, that's great, and all that. Yeah, could I see myself eventually trying it out? Yeah, you snag someone off the street that might be a little closer to that from the moral standpoint.
Well, here's the
and
forget
that
about
would be the thing that gets me there, not necessarily because I don't love the taste of it, and not necessarily because I have some desire to. Yeah.
Sure. Do you know how many spicy chicken sandwiches I used to eat from Wendy's? I used to. So before I went vegan, I used to eat. I swear to God, at least 10 a week. I would go in there. I'd get 3 at a time. I would eat those chicken sandwiches. They were fucking delicious, right? Yeah. Animal products are delicious. But I could not answer the question that I asked you, right? What's the moral justification that allows this to continue going when I can sustain? There is no moral justification. No moral. There's only like excuses or practical arguments of
and the same things that I'm making here,
right?
Which and then when I think about it, even right now in the last 5 minutes, as I hear the responses that I'm giving you, and then analyze that feedback, I'm like, man, what a stupid argument that I'm trying to make. But it's just because it is so ingrained in me to just continue with the status quo.
But here's what I will say: I am glad because I don't know what camp you're in, but I'll give you some nutritional facts,
I think
right?
Because probably solidly in the middle on most things.
So nutrition-wise, right? Vegans are at the lowest risk of most of our chronic diseases. That's heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, all of these things, right?
That sounds really that would be the thing probably that most gets me there.
Here's what I want to. That's what I want to tell you, right? Yeah. Because I can understand. Look, I can understand because you said you're trying to cut down meat, you're trying to make changes, right? Mm-hmm. I could tell you're a really nice guy, man. Honestly, like I would be friends with you. You're a great guy. I appreciate you coming to talk. Heart diseases are #1 killer, right?
It's really fucking scary.
Hundreds of thousands of people die every year from heart disease, right? My fiance's uncle just died he was 45. He died of a heart attack in his sleep. He had I think it's congestive heart failure, right? Like people die from this disease, and the #1 contributor is too many calories, as well as high saturated fat, high cholesterol.
Sodium.
Yep, and those are primarily found in highly processed junk foods, specifically animal products, and also animal products in general, dairy, meat, especially fatty meat. Yeah. Like this is a real serious thing. So
absolutely, and what's wild to me is most people don't know, think, or care.
They don't know shit
about.
They don't know anything,
you know. And I feel unique in that I know like all that about nutrition, and yet I haven't quite gotten to the point of acting.
Look, I hear you. Look, it's a struggle.
But I get it, and when you look at that, and I've talked to my own doctor about that. It's like, why are these things that are killing people so pervasive, and why are they allowed to be so bad for us?
I know.
Why can't they be improved? It can be just as good or better and healthier. Like, why does it have to be that way?
Well, dude,
the answer is efficiency, convenience, and
money,
capitalism.
Industry, dude. 2-liter bottle of Coke's cheaper than a bottle of water.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like it's fucking crazy. Like that's what I'm saying. Like so, like even from like forget about.
And that goes back to exactly what you're saying. You vote with your dollars. Yes, absolutely. And that's true for all industries.
Exactly. And I understand that, because you're known, see it right. If I gave you a knife and put a cow here, You couldn't kill it, right? Or could you?
Well, it depends on the context, I think.
Not in survival. Just if I gave you a knife and cow.
And we're on the side of the street in fucking downtown Plymouth.
Well, if I
in the middle of the
said-
night, no, of course.
if
I'm
I
not
said
gonna
the only way to
stab
get your
this cow
next-
in front of all these people,
The only way to get your burger is to kill this cow.
and then it'll be taken away and processed, and you can eat it.
Well, you gotta kill it, yeah.
But I have to be the one that
Yeah,
kills
you
it.
gotta stab its, you gotta cut its neck
Yeah,
open.
No, I probably wouldn't.
Probably could.
No,
I don't think so.
probably
I don't
wouldn't
think
and
you
couldn't. You know, but yes,
So my point.
yeah. If it was a survival thing,
Yeah, survival's
or
different,
I lived
yeah.
1,000 years ago.
Sure.
know, off
But
the
right
land,
now,
yeah.
if I said you can't eat another animal product until you kill this innocent cow that's eating grass.
Yeah, Brandon, you win. I wouldn't fucking do it.
So the thing is, so I understand because it's so far removed from you, you might not. Because I watch a lot of slaughterhouse footage. I really
I've
do.
seen some on Reddit and shit, and I try and avoid it.
You try to avoid it,
who-
right?
Yeah.
So I put myself in there, so that's why I'm so adamant about this.
Yeah.
But when it's so far away from us, I don't expect you necessarily to, for lack of a better term, really give a shit, right? I don't really expect that from most people. But if I can at least get you to understand, to concede that there's no moral justification, and put the pieces together of not only is it going to potentially prolong your life in the long run, as well as be more efficient for the planet. Oh, it's the trifecta, man. It's the trifecta. One of those has got to get you vegan. And then once you do, I went vegan for health. I said, what diet is going to make me live the longest? And I said, okay, plant-based, no saturated fat, no cholesterol, #1 killer. Okay, I'm vegan. Then I started looking at the animals. Then I started doing research on factory farming. And that's what stuck me through veganism, right? But I appreciate the talk. Long
Dude, me
talk.
too. I'm really glad that we. That
I'm
I
telling you,
I
man.
Finally did this.
Do you have anything last you want to say or anything closing? Or?
Dude, I'm pretty convinced.
Okay.
You
yeah.
watch out, world.
Do it, dude. Do it. Start at least for your health. Start doing it, man.
Well, and I do snack on vegan stuff. I go to Vela all the time.
Good.
Love that
Smoothies.
place.
Hell yeah.
Well, actually, have you had the avocado toast? My lord.
No, I haven't had it there. No,
Do
it's
it.
good.
Do
All
it.
right.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.